So this man forgot his little daughter in the farm overnight, and it caused catastrophe in the entire village, even to the point of almost losing his life. So this man's name is Okeke. Okeke was a farmer and one of the wealthiest, or rather, the wealthiest man in the entire village of Aro. Now, the people of Aro were popularly known for their exceptional farming skills, and the bigger a man's farmland, the wealthier and more influential they were. Actually, Okeke didn't become a millionaire overnight. He was once a struggling young man, working his butts off, trying to succeed like every other young farmer in the village, until one day, he came up with an idea.
I'm going to find myself a hard-working wife who will join me on my farm. She would eventually have my children who will also join to expand my business and make me so freaking rich.
Next, Okeke set out to execute his plan. He found himself a charming, hard-working young girl. Like hard-working in capital letters. Her name is Ako. And boom, they got married. Okeke and Ako toiled tirelessly on his farm, and he started to see progress. Soon, they welcomed their first child, then the second, then the third, and fourth, and fifth. And Ako was like, wait, hold up. I can't keep up with your birth spree. I need a break. So they paused having children and focused on raising the ones they had, or rather, grooming their free laborers. And just like Okeke had imagined, his farming business grew bigger and bigger, and his entire family toiled day and night to make him cool cash. Imagine return on investment. Now everything was going on fine until 5 years later. Okeke noticed that business was slow and it was no longer expanding as he wanted. So he decided to up his game. And what did he do? He decided to get himself another wife to bear him more children, since his first wife was fed up with childbirth. So he found this other prissy lady. Let's call her Obioma. And without informing his first wife, Ako, Okeke went ahead to marry Obioma as his second wife. Fear Adam, you need to take 23 hours out of 24 hours each day to fear men. Yeah. Ako, being a very calm woman, was unhappy with the new development. However, she decided to play along and maintain peace in the family. After all, the only thing her husband Okeke cared about was profit. But as a smart woman, she also decided to devise a plan of her own. Now, the thing is that Ako was an excellent cook. She had very exotic recipes that no one else had in the entire village. And Okeke, her husband, would never trade her delicious meal for anything. And as the tradition was, both wives were meant to take turns to prepare their husband's meal. And this was a kind of competition to win their husband's affection. So obviously, Ako had an advantage. So Ako went ahead to strike a deal with Obioma, the second wife. She promised to give Obioma half of her mouth-watering recipes in exchange for her loyalty. Now guess what she wanted in return? That Obioma wouldn't have more children than herself. Obioma agreed without even thinking twice. And as years rolled by, Obioma had exactly 5 children. So great deal. Things are going on well. The two wives got along so well that people would mistake them for sisters. Even their children were so close that you couldn't even tell them apart. You couldn't tell who owns who. Okeke's wealth and fame grew by the day, and his household was known throughout the entire village for wealth, strength, and unity. Their bands spread across strategic locations in the community. His influence became undeniable, and the villagers strongly admired Okeke. Everyone wanted to associate with him. Okeke was happy and fulfilled. At least my plan worked. Until one day, Obioma, the second wife, got pregnant again for the 6th time. What a betrayal. The entire family buzzed with the news of the unplanned blessing. And then, Okike's once united family was thrown into pandemonium. How could Obioma be so wicked to conceive for the 6th time after we had an agreement to end it at 5? He had the guts to take in again to spite me and control the affection of our husband. Aku, who was long past her season of childbearing, soliloquized. Obioma, on the other hand, was living her best life, with no iota of remorse for her actions. Her heart was filled with shouts of celebration as guests flocked in to see the newborn. On the other side of the compound was contrasting silence as Aku and her children watched in total dismay. Now Obioma's unplanned baby, her name is Amuche. Amuche was like a loved child. Okeke and Obioma doted on her like an only child. They loved her like their lives depended on it. Meanwhile, her birth was creating a sharp division in Okeke's family, as Aku's smile marked the brewing resentment. Okeke and Obioma, blinded by love, showered Amuche with all kinds of expensive gifts, clothes, and everything she could ask for. Eventually, time rolled by. The 10 older children also became resentful towards Amuche. So one night, as they were having dinner, the oldest child, Ako, couldn't contain his anger anymore. Mama Obioma and Papa seemed so blind towards the rest of us since the arrival of Amuche. Mama Obioma used to be fair in her judgment and love us all equally. But since Amuche's birth, we have turned to wooden spoons. In fact, they have turned us into Amuche's servants. They even let Amuche eat from the same plate with them, but they will never ever try that with us. So that same night, when dinner was over, it was Amuche's turn to do the dishes. But instead, she started crying and screaming out of nowhere, accusing her siblings of bullying her. She even said they dislocated her arm. Freezing little liar. She was immediately exempted from all sorts of house chores by her father Okeke. Amuche went on with her schemes and lies until one fateful day, the entire family set out to their farm as usual. Okeke, their father, shared the day's work between the 11 children, and everyone swung into action immediately, except Amuche. As usual, she refused to lift a finger. Instead, she found a tree shade to relax and eat. She ate and ate until she could eat no more. She consumed the food prepared for 11 children. Immediately after eating, she found a comfortable spot on the branch of the tree trunk and dozed off. That same evening, after the stressful farm work, the 10 older siblings had nothing left to eat. And as we all know, a hungry man is an angry man. You can imagine working from morning till evening, hoping to eat at the end of the day, and end up disappointed. Why would this laziness of a girl keep annoying us? Not even an iota of respect for her elders. That very day, her siblings decided to teach her an unforgettable lesson. So farm work was over. Everyone went home and unpacked. And at dinner that night, plates were served, blessings were said, but one plate remained untouched. Amuche was missing. Wait, what? Where's Amuche? Obioma cried. Unfortunately, the lesson the older siblings planned to teach her was leaving her behind at the tree trunk where she was fast asleep. The 10 older siblings pretended like they had no idea they forgot her there. They joined their parents in the search until Okeke and Obioma realized that Amuche did not even get home with them. Now that they realized that Amuche never left the farm in the first place, panic surged through Okeke and Obioma's vein, because by the time all this was happening, darkness had already descended on the village, which meant only one thing: danger. Now for context, the long distance between the village and the farm is covered by a thick forest, and no one dared cross that lonely forest at night because stories had it that the forest was haunted by a fearsome man, Ekemwofia. This very dark man was known to drape any man or woman who dares to trespass his boundary at night. In fact, it wasn't just a myth. A lot of people had seen him roaming the village boundary at night. This giant, neither man nor spirit, was a figure of terror. Therefore, going out to find Amuche that night was mission impossible. Now back to the other side of the forest. Amuche was awoke to the deafening silence of the night. Fear gripped her heart. She screamed the names of her parents and siblings and got no response. She had no other option than to stumble through the forest, trying to trace her way back home. Until halfway through her journey, as she was about to cross the bridge over a popular lake, and boom, her feet slipped and she fell into the river. Unfortunately, Amuche couldn't swim, so she drowned. For the next few days, Okeke's family was on the search for Amuche alongside the village guards. They searched every nook and cranny of the forest and the farmland, hoping to find Amuche, all to no avail. Okeke and his family got tired and started mourning Amuche, assuming she was dead. Even the older children that staked the revenge started regretting their actions, but they dare not mention that it was intentional. Okeke and Ogioma blamed themselves every passing minute. How could we be so careless? The mourning continued throughout the third day until, boom, Amuche appeared from nowhere, looking all scattered and haggard. I know you'll be thinking, I thought you said she drowned. Yes, I also thought she drowned. Or at least, that was what I saw. So back to Okeke's house. Amuche was greeted by the joyous cries of her family members, but something was off. Amuche was not the same child that left the village. Amuche became a mystery. Her parents tried to get her to speak and explain where she had been all this while and how she was able to survive without being killed by Ekemwofia or any wild animal. But she said she couldn't remember anything. But as time went on, Amuche started disappearing at odd times. Her eyes filled with a strange glint that even her older siblings dreaded her. The villagers also noticed this sudden change and buzzed with speculations. The once cherished child was now a source of unease. Okeke's family was trying to help Amuche regain her memory or at least say something about her missing incident. Another strange event was taking place in the village. Some children started getting missing. Did I say some children? Amuche's friends / playmates. Amuche's friends started disappearing one after the other, and their parents weren't finding it funny at all. This strange incident happened back to back, and there was only one suspect, Amuche. But here's the problem. The parents of these missing children were so scared of confronting Amuche because of her dad, Okeke. Remember, Okeke was the wealthiest person in the entire Aro village, so everyone dreaded him so much, and they didn't want to offend him at all. So things deteriorated until the daughter of Onyike, the fearless hunter, got missing. Of course, the girl was also Amuche's playmate. Onyike couldn't take the bullshit. Once he got the news of his missing daughter, he picked up his keg of kerosene, carried his matchstick, gathered the parents of all the other missing children, and marched to the house of Okeke, determined to burn it down with every living being in it. So as the angry parents marched fearlessly to Okeke's house, one amebo ran ahead of them and informed Okeke of the looming danger.
If you know what is good for you, just pack your family and disappear now. If these people catch you, I don't know what will be your case.
Okeke fled his house to the king's palace with his entire family. Okeke, being a rich man, was automatically the friend of the king, so he was welcomed into the king's palace. Okeke narrated his ordeal and insisted that his daughter was innocent. He said he was sure the culprit was Ekenwofia, the mysterious forest creature. Okike and his family remained in the king's court, and the king ordered a manhunt for Ekenwofia. At the order of the king, the village warriors started preparing to invade the evil forest and capture Ekenwofia. In the meantime, Amuche became close friends with the king's only son. His name is Ochanja. They were always seen playing around the palace until one evening they both got missing out of the blue. As in, Ochanja, the king's only son, alongside Amuche, they got missing. So the king immediately summoned the village warriors and asked them to ransack the entire village and the dreaded forest to find his son Ochanja.
Don't return back to this village without my son alive and the head of that notorious Okenwofia.
As the village warriors marched desperately to the forest to capture Ekenwofia, they were met by the surprise of their lives. As they approached the boundary of the village, they sighted Ekenwofia marching towards them with Amuche, the king's son, and all the other children that were missing in the village. At the twinkle of an eye, the village guards charged at Ekenwofia to unalive him. Amuche screamed, "Stop! Don't spy him! He is innocent!" The warriors were confused, so they took all of them to the king's palace to explain themselves. As the news of the children's return spread throughout the village, jubilation exploded. Everyone gathered to hear what happened. The king's court was filled to the brim, and everyone was eager to get an explanation. I, Ekenwofia, had no idea that the villagers were after my life. I was casually going about my daily business in the forest when I spotted this little girl Amuche walking deep along the forest with another child. I said, "Impossible. How can these small children be walking by themselves in this forest by this time of the day?" Piqued with curiosity, I followed to see where she was leading the child to. I quietly followed them until they got to the stream, only to catch Amuche handing over the innocent child to an ape. One glance at Amuche, I could tell that she was deeply hypnotized. All through my life in the forest, I've always been at war with these apes. Yet, so amazing why I was banished into this evil forest a long time ago by my own people. Back then, I had a good reputation as the greatest hunter in the entire Arrow Kingdom. I was thriving well until these mean apes migrated to the forest where I hunt. They started dripping and unaliving innocent victims, and I was accused wrongly for their evil deeds. I told my people that I was innocent and the apes were responsible, but no one dared to believe me. They eventually banished me from the village and sent me into the evil forest. Ever since that time, I've been living like an outcast in this evil forest alone, while the apes have been going around causing havoc to the citizens of Arrow. This is the reason why I've never been in good terms with those apes. So immediately I saw them taking an innocent child, I just couldn't stand it. So I jumped right into action. I fought them hours after hour and rescued the helpless child. It was then that I found other innocent children in their prison. I managed to rescue them all, and I decided to bring them back to the village myself. It was on our way back that Amuche narrated her ordeal of how she was forgotten by her family at their farmland and how she almost got drowned when she slipped at the bridge of the river. After he fell into the river, she was rescued by a group of apes that hypnotized her and instructed her to lure innocent children from the village to them, hence the missing children. At this instant, the villagers' fear turned to awe at Ekenwofia's heroic deed. Now the irony of the situation is that Ekenwofia, who was seen as a villain by the villagers, was actually guarding them from evil from the forest where he dwelt. At the end of his narration, Ekenwofia was made the chief of the village guards, while the rescued children underwent cleansing rituals, after which they were reunited with their loving families. Finally, Okeke and Obioma, who were once partial towards Amuche, learned their lessons and started treating all their children equally. Amuche's story, a tale of fear, mystery, and ultimate triumph, echoed throughout the generation, a reminder that in darkest times, light can be found even in the most unexpected places.